About 2 years ago, I gained one of my favorite life experiences. I had the opportunity to travel to Europe on a school trip through our history department. The purpose of the trip was to explore the histories of Paris, Germany, and Switzerland, but I learned so much more than what can be found in a textbook. The entire trip was surreal. Paris charmed me and sparked my obsession with croissants. Germany made me feel at home with its relaxed and friendly aura, and Switzerland was what inspired me to tell the story I'm telling. Perhaps one of the aspects that made this trip all that it was for me was the fact that I experienced it all with some of my closest friends. It is now a story that we lived and shared with each other. However, we each gleaned something different out of this story, and I find it so interesting how we all interpret things uniquely while experiencing essentially the same thing. And here's my experience. Switzerland was art, and I was able to find my own definition of the lush country through a set of special moments that I can't see myself forgetting in the near or far future. My friends and I, all romantics at heart, played our favorite mountainous folky music while we were ascending the incredibly large Mount Pilatus, living out our indie adventurer fantasies. Atop the mountain, I felt that I needed to be alone to truly appreciate the immense beauty surrounding me. So I parted from my friends, walked around, sat down, journaled, and remained awestruck the entire time. Another Swiss memory is when I went flower picking. So many wild and lovely flowers graced the mountainsides that I felt I needed to take some home. So I placed them in my journal as a sort of makeshift press. I'm so happy I kept the flowers because they now serve as a reminder of this trip whenever they accidentally fall out of my journal. Later on, I laced on my boots and hiked down the mountain at sunset. Dusk is already a magical time in my mind, but seeing these new and wonderful sights under that purplish tint left me in disbelief that I was actually there. Honestly, it was hard to comprehend because of how surreal it felt. Adding to my collection of moments was the church service we attended on the final morning. It was in another language, and I felt uncomfortable at first, considering it was a very small church for a very small community. I soon released the feelings of uneasiness and tried my best to follow the Mass with the religious knowledge of 12 years of Catholic school. I'm not a religious person at all, but there was something about the fact that even though we did not speak the same language, we knew the same Hallelujah, so both the locals and my English-speaking group could sing that bit in unison. Reflecting on your experiences is something that we often forget to do or can't find the time to do. The campus minister who went on this trip with us sort of forced a reflection upon us, though. For this, I'm so thankful. She prompted us by asking where we saw God during this trip. Immediately, I thought of the natural beauty I bore witness to, then the artificial beauty, like the landmarks, the buildings, the art, and more importantly, the range of people I encountered and their kindness. Particularly the hospitable family who welcomed us so open-heartedly into their hotel, which doubled as their home. Reflecting on these things humbled me immediately, and I found myself crying, which is nothing out of the ordinary for me, but still I was shocked at the emotional impact that it had on me. Really, this experience put a lot of things into perspective for me. My life is very small, very small. There's so much out there for me to see. My problems really simply do not matter in the larger scheme of things, because so many things are happening at once, all around the world. We need to be nice to people, and smile. Mountains are huge, but anyone can climb them. Overall, Switzerland is magical.